How's it going, guys? Patrick here with another discussion video. And this video is going to be about something that I really have not addressed. And that's going to be about the classic consoles. And of course, the NES Classic Edition came out last year. And the SNES Classic Edition is set to come out later this year. And we recently got an announcement that the pre-orders for at least the US are going to start later this month. So very exciting stuff there. I know other parts of the country, other parts of the world rather, have already got their pre-orders. So some of you are lucky enough that you have actually been able to pre-order yours, but still the US has not given us the pre-orders. Those will start later this month. But that's really not what I'm going to be talking about. Mainly when people bring up the subject of these classic consoles, the number one thing that everyone starts off with is, well, I'm not going to be able to get one. They're going to be completely gone. I can kind of feel for them because the NES Classic Edition came out and Nintendo completely underestimated these things. And these things sold out so fast. I mean, I did not see any NES Classic Editions in store. I bought two. I was fortunate enough to buy two, but they were both secondhand off of other people, and I paid way too much for them. That was the hot item at the time, and the only way that I could get any in my hands is buying them online. Fortunately, I was fortunate enough to give one to my younger brother, and just seeing a young kid see and play the first Nintendo games is just something that I can't really put a price on. So I got him one. But I had a lot of fun with the NES Classic. And it's weird too because, I'm 24 years old. The NES was not a part of my childhood, even though I did play it as a kid. But I didn't really have any nostalgia with it. So I'm not really sure why I bought it. Kind of just, and that may be the reason too, because I never had one. And I kind of wanted to experience some of the games that I missed because, certainly just wasn't in my age. But the NES Classic was a good little thing. It came out of nowhere at the time. And like I said before, Nintendo completely screwed up. You can't really blame them though. Here's Nintendo putting out this little novelty thing. Like plug-and-play games are pretty common. But I don't think Nintendo has ever put out one. I remember like the Atari ones. Like a few years back, like plug-and-play systems were the biggest thing out there. But Nintendo, this I think was their first attempt at a plug-and-play system. Of course, this was a much fancier version. It had HDMI, and it came with a pretty nice controller. And the thing looks exactly like an NES, except mini. And that's exactly what they wanted. So great. The thing looks great. The games, there was 30 games for, I believe, $60, which is a hell of a price considering the prices of carts. And it seems like they're only going up in terms of value. So the price was good. The thing looked good, except Nintendo just didn't make enough. And that seems to be the worry about the new console coming out, the SNES Classic, which I am actually really excited for, and even more excited than the NES Classic. Like I said before, I didn't really grow up with that, so, there's not much nostalgia there. But the SNES, I remember playing very fondly. Donkey Kong Country, Star Fox, there's so many memories with that console. So I'm definitely going to try and pick this up. But I really wanted to talk about the inventory issues and something that I'm very afraid that I will not get my hands on one of these. And I really don't want to give in to scalpers like I had to with the NES Classic. And already there are really just big red flags that tell me that this thing could be another disaster. So a few weeks back, at the time that I'm making this video, Walmart had this big debacle where they accidentally put up pre-orders. And it was this big thing where Walmart emailed all of the people that pre-ordered this system and said, hey, we messed up. We weren't supposed to do that. We're very sorry. We hope you continue to do business with us, that whole spiel. So already this thing, and by the way, the pre-order was only up for like 40 minutes and it sold out. Or whatever the inventory they had. I don't know if they just took it down because it was an error. but people were going absolutely crazy here in the US, and this thing is just going to sell no matter what. And I hope Nintendo has done their homework a little bit. It seems like they have. They raised the price a little bit. They added a additional controller because the original system, or the original NES, came with one controller, and then there was another one that you could purchase, but those were even rarer than the system. But it does make sense because back in the day, the SNES did come with a second controller. So I don't know if it's because of that or just the fact that Nintendo, kind of learned from their mistakes. But regardless, the system is going to be a little more expensive. It comes in at $80 US, and it comes with two controllers. Comes with a lot less games. It comes with 21 games, but of course that big one, that unreleased game, Star Fox 2, which for me, I'm a big Star Fox fan, so that really gets me excited. But the games that they picked, really, really good games. I mean, Earthbound's on there, and if you're thinking of price, like, is this worth it? A cart of Earthbound is worth more than this entire Classic Edition console. So if you guys want to pick this up, the value is definitely there. But the big question again, is Nintendo going to make enough of these? So I'm going to answer for you the question that everyone is asking me. And that is, well, why are these things so hard to find? And there's really two things that I want to talk about that, Nintendo has really kind of dropped the ball with. The first thing is Nintendo underestimated the value and collectability of this thing. People love Nintendo right now. I mean, they've always loved Nintendo, but right now seems like Nintendo can do no wrong in terms of products, in terms of games. Like, they have created the hottest thing now for like years and years. I mean, Pokemon Go, the Switch, like everything that they've released has been a home run. And they should have known that this classic, like, everyone likes the NES. Super Mario Brothers, like Legend of Zelda, like everyone loves this thing. So why wouldn't they just make millions and millions of this thing? And that's the big question. The thing that I think, in going back to the two major things that I think is why we can't really find these. The first thing is, this is a limited edition console. This is supposed to be a collectible, limited run, just fun thing that Nintendo's doing. And everyone seems to feel that they are entitled to have one. When really, this is a small project that Nintendo put out just for fun. People love our classic games, people love it. People love nostalgia. So that's the first part. This is supposed to be a limited run kind of collectible console. So that's one thing I think that people just don't really understand. The second thing is on Nintendo. They completely missed the demographic for this thing. Now, I don't know the way Nintendo thinks. And if you do, give me a call because they are they're just so unpredictable. But when it comes to their consumers, I feel like they really haven't had a grasp on who exactly supports Nintendo at this time. With the Wii, they targeted it at younger kids, and the Wii was a great success. But I think the Wii kind of hurt Nintendo in the way that it made Nintendo seem like a kiddie console. And ever since then, Nintendo has had problems with hardcore gamers going back and supporting and being behind Nintendo. And if you look now with the Switch, they're targeting it, if you look at all the ads, they're mid to late 20s. Like, it seems to be like this hip console. And it seems like they got their age right. I feel like most of Nintendo supporters are either 15 to about 29, 30. Like, it's definitely the hipster generation is very much the backers of Nintendo. But it seems like they got that right. With the NES Classic, I think Nintendo thought that all of these older people that grew up with the NES were going to buy into it. The non-casual gamers, the people that don't have the Nintendo Switch. And if you think about it, that's actually the perfect demographic to buy these things. People in their 30s and 40s that played the NES when they were younger. This is supposed to be their machine. This isn't supposed to be the hardcore Switch gamers machine. This is very much a I think it's geared for an older audience or someone that doesn't really know a lot about gaming to pick this up, get their NES fix, and just, put it down, forget about it. I think that's the demographic. But, the lack of the virtual console on the Switch, and really, I mean, you were kind of at the end of, the Wii U was pretty much non-existent, and you randomly released this NES Classic. What do you think we're going to do? We're going to eat it up. Everyone is going to eat it up. So at the end of the day, you had these hardcore gamers, clamoring for an NES Classic. And at the end of the day, but by the time the older generation, the target audience, the target market for this thing heard about it, it was nowhere to be found. So I think Nintendo has to change its formula around, change its numbers and projections for the SNES Classic to maybe think, hey, a lot more people are into this system, and if you're at Nintendo, at least I hope they think this way, but they should not give in to the scalpers. Overproduce this item, because this item is definitely not going to sit on the shelves. I don't think you could make enough of this item. This is a perfect gift for any kind of gamer of any kind of age. Hardcore, casual, this just would make a perfect gift. And considering it's coming out later in the year, this could be the hottest Christmas gift. So I just think it's a missed opportunity, and I hope Nintendo adjusts the numbers. Now, do I think Nintendo is going to make more SNES Classic consoles than the NES? I do. I think that they're going to kind of adjust that number a little bit, put out more of these consoles. But still, guys, remember, Nintendo has the mindset of these are limited edition runs. They do not owe you anything. They are going to put out a set number and release them. And that's going to be the end of it. And it's just going to be like the NES Classic. You'll hear in a few months that Nintendo has stopped production and they will move on, presumably, to the N64 Classic, which, oh my God, guys, if that comes out, that I need that in my life. Like, I will be camping out at Best Buy in my tent waiting for that thing. That would be really cool. And the amount of games that could be on that is just really, really exciting. But going back to the SNES Classic, I'm really afraid at this point. And I'm afraid that I'm not going to get one just like the NES. Later this month, I'll have my opportunity, I guess. Target has come out and said that they have a placeholder. If you go on their website, they have a placeholder for the NES or the SNES Classic. So hopefully you guys will get an opportunity to buy it. Now, here's the grand solution to the thing. And I think I've said this before, maybe on someone else's channel, but here's how you make sure everyone gets an SNES Classic. You put up pre-orders for GameStop, Best Buy, Walmart, all the major retailers that will sell this. You put up pre-orders for about a month. After that month ends, you exit it, you get all that out, and you just count up your pre-orders and make that many consoles. It's not that hard. Maybe then you can give Walmart, Target, Best Buy some floor models and give them some extra inventory. But that way you have this long pre-order, and that will ensure that whoever wants this console, the hardcore audience, will get their console, and then you just release a bunch to all the other retailers, and at that point all the casual gamers and the older crowd can then get theirs. I think that that's really the only solution. It seems that they just dropped the ball with the NES, and maybe that's some strategic marketing there. Maybe they are purposely just making so little that the hype just gets insane. And, now with this SNES Classic, they'll make a ton and the hype will just be the same and everyone will get one. But regardless, guys, I do like these classic consoles. I think they're really cool. And, sometimes when I'm playing modern games, I get the itch to play retro games. And I don't have these retro systems. I don't have the NES. I don't have the SNES. So having this classic console being, so small, so easy to plug in and play. You don't have to worry about all the carts and stuff. I could just play this for a couple hours, get my SNES fix, and then I'm done with it until I want to play with it again. So I am in favor of these classic consoles. I think it's really cool, and I think that if done right, you can have the people that actually want them, that older crowd that kind of grew up with this. But I am definitely in favor of these classic consoles. Let me know what you guys think in the comments. Will you be picking up the SNES Classic? And do you think Nintendo will make enough of them? Well, guys, this is Patrick from Nintendo Talk. Thank you very much for listening, and have a great